I've been sitting here for a few minutes trying to contemplate, and it sounds dumb, but forever. What does forever look like? What does it mean? Because forever, well, I mean, it's in the Bible several times. At the end of the model prayer, Jesus says, "For yours is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen." Paul here to Timothy in 1 Timothy 1:17 at the end of this fabulous doxology. Now, to the King, eternal, immortal, invisible, the only God, be honor and glory forever and ever. Amen. And he adds forever and ever. Now, literally, that's not possible. It's like saying, okay, for eternity and eternity. It really is the to infinity and beyond. I mean, there is no beyond infinity. Infinity is beyond. Eternity is beyond. Forever is forever. You and I, now maybe Einstein or, the brainiac guys, the world of astrophysics and theoretical physics and mathematics and so forth, maybe they can conceptualize infinity. I cannot. I kind of give myself a hall pass because math is not my thing. Theoretical physics, no. Here's the other side of that. You see, everything, this is true of all of us, to one degree or another. All of our understanding is framed in the context of what we can verify. And when you get outside of that, then it gets fuzzier and fuzzier the farther outside that you go. I mean, that's just how it is. And for some people, they can do better with that fuzzy outside the boundaries thing. But I kind of don't. And I can conceptualize a long time back and even a long time forward. But see, if I'm conceptualizing time, we're talking boundaries. If you say forever and ever, the boundaries go away. I think that's important, and here's why. You know how I said that last piece before Paul writes, be honor and glory forever and ever, is the only God. See, this does not make him God, but because he is God, this is true. He has no beginning and he has no ending, which is, on one hand, on one side of the equation, for me, this gives me supreme confidence and even some comfort to know that because God is not bound by time, he is outside of time, because his existence is infinite. My momentary, which may seem, like a lifetime of trouble, but in relation to infinity, is a moment. God gets it. He totally, he has the absolute context, and I do not. All I have is a context of what I've experienced and what I conceptualize in the future. I am not God. I'm not infinite. I'm not capable of this God kind of forever and ever. Am I an eternal being? I believe so. But not in the same way that God is. God invites me into his presence, into his very being, which the only way I could do that is if part of what he created in me is this eternal aspect, which I believe is my soul, my spirit. And this is an unpopular idea. It's half unpopular today. The idea is he invites me to exist in eternity with him in the bliss of heaven, which we have lots of crazy, stupid ideas about heaven, and the clearest glimpse we have of heaven is the last 2 chapters of the book of Revelation, and none of what John wrote there, of what God revealed to him, most of which we don't even have a vocabulary to describe well, none of that has to do with sitting around on clouds strumming a harp with wings on our back. None of it. There is a new heaven and a new earth, and there is the new Jerusalem. I could go on and on and on and on. Okay, but that is, though there are no adequate words to describe it, it is real. In some ways more real than anything you or I have ever experienced. Okay, so God invites us into that. Or he permits us to choose otherwise. And there is really only one otherwise. It is not oblivion. It is not erasure. It is not non-existence. It is hell. Interestingly, there is less of a description of hell in the New Testament than there is of heaven. You get glimpses. Jesus told a parable. We call it the rich man and Lazarus. Rich man dies, and he is in torment. Now, there's this whole big line of theology that where people have written volumes about what really could hell be, and what does the New Testament and the whole Bible, in fact, tell us about hell. And I can summarize it in one phrase: all bad, all the time. You are separated from God, and if the fires are literal, they will not burn you up. They will only torment you. The most secure, the surest thing I can say about hell is, I don't want to go there. I don't want you to go there. Here's the other thing. God doesn't want anybody to go there. You already know my favorite human author is C.S. Lewis. I'm going to paraphrase what he once said. He said, it works this way. There are 2 kinds of people. People who say to God, your will be done. And people to whom God says, your will be done. Now, that's the difference between heaven and hell, is a choice and a lifestyle of choosing your will, God, or my will, God. Now, come on back. Let's get out of that bunny trail and come back to the King, eternal, immortal, invisible, the only God. Be honor and glory forever and ever. Now, here's where I want to go with that. And the reason I want to go there is because I need this. Okay? You may not, but I definitely do. I have got to not turn loose of the reality that it's not just about this life. It is about this life in the context of forever and ever. Because if there is no forever and ever context, then in my mind, there's only one good use for religion, and that is to create a system of morality that provides order in a world of chaos. And beyond that, no good value in it. Certainly, a faith in God, if there is no forever, is a dumb idea. Most materialists, most atheists live and work and philosophize in that world where there is no forever. There's just now. There's just this life. And when this life is over, that's it. I feel sorry, and I don't mean that in a condescending way, but I truly do feel sorry for people who that's all they got. Whatever they can get out of this life, that's it. Of all people on the face of the planet, Christians should be, I, as part of that group, you as part of that group, we should be the most hopeful. And here's why. Because as good or as bad as this life is, there's no comparison with what forever will be for us. The other side of that coin, as I've said, is as good or as bad as this life is, it pales in comparison with how bad forever will be. Okay. How do I live in light of the fact that it's not just this life? That there is a forever, and I'm gonna experience it. Either there's no middle ground. Either I'm gonna experience it after this life in heaven, or I'm gonna experience after this life in hell. Just those two choices, those two things, and nothing more or less. How do I live as though that's the central, maybe not the central, but that is the context for how I choose to live my life now in this life? Because although there is a forever, there is this life. And I have been commissioned as a steward to live my life, this life, in light of eternity. A couple of quick things. First of all, Paul talks about this. He calls it light and momentary troubles of this life. Well, yeah, but you have to compare that with the glories of forever. In the moment, these light and momentary trials don't seem light and momentary. They seem like all there is. Expletive. To me, if I don't have this forever context, then whatever I'm going through in this moment is going to consume my attention, my hopes, my energy, my emotion. Every resource I have will be absorbed into this moment. And that, I cheat myself when I do that. There is more than this moment. Steve, take a breath, a deep breath. Exhale, inhale, exhale, and remember. Don't deny, and don't live in denial that there are times in this life that are not good. They are horrible. They are painful, sometimes excruciatingly so. I don't deny that. But don't forget, this is not all there is. So, Steve, quit living as though it were. Sing it to yourself, boy. This world is not my home. I'm just a passing through. Okay, see you next time. and we'll move forward on Soul Care with Stevie Boy.